it's Caitlin Duchesne from the Peoria Public Library, and today I'm going to show you how to make this hydraulic lift. It's a cool, simple science project that you can make with just a few simple items, and I've made one without hot glue, which is kind of tricky, but easier money-wise. So keep watching, and you know how to make one as well. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do for my hydraulic lift is actually measure out the arms. As you can see, I have a piece of foam board here. Your foam board doesn't have to be like this. This is just a piece I had. And your measurements can be completely different as long as each of your 8 arms are the same length. Okay, for this foam board, I know how long it is, and I'm actually going to make mine 1.1 inches for the arms. So I'm going to measure that for each time. Once I have it measured, that I know where it's going to be, I can take my ruler and draw a line down so I can make sure that the line is straight. This is how one of your arms should look. Okay, you're going to do that for all the next 7. Okay, at this point, this is what it should look like. You should have 8 arms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 arms. In the middle of each one, you're going to place a dot so that you know where to puncture your arm through. Okay, however long you made your arm, you're going to do half of that. Okay, so my arm is 7 inches long, so half of that is 3.5. So I know I want it right here. That's what my dot is. I'm going to draw a line through to make sure I get the middle of each of them. Okay, so each of my middle dots are placed in the same location, and I'm going to do that for a dot at the top and a dot at the bottom of each of the boards. So I want it to line up with the middle dot as well. Okay, this is what it should look like now. You've got marks on the top and the bottom and in the middle. Now you're just going to cut out each of your arms. Okay, don't cut this way, cut vertically, so you'll have 8 strips. I'm going to use a penknife that I have, but with foam board, what's really nice is you can do the same thing with scissors. So if you have scissors, just cut along the mark that you've already made. This is what your arms should look like once they're all cut out. As you can see, they're all pretty even. There might be a little rugged on the edges, but that's fine. As long as they're as even as possible is what you want. What you're going to do now is you're going to take one of your skewers and then gradually work it into each of the marking for the arms. So the top marking, I'm just going to punch it through. This is a good thing about foam board. It makes it relatively easy. As you can see, I've got a hole. Same thing for the middle one. So we'll get through just like that, and the bottom one. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3 holes. So same thing for all 8 arms. Each arm should have 3 holes in it now. 1, 2, 3, and they should look like this. Once you have the holes in, what you're going to do is you're actually going to take 2 of your arms and attach them together with some of the wire. Okay, so for instance, I'm going to take the top of arm 1 and the top of arm 2 and attach it right together with wire. So just push the wire through one of the holes, just like that, and then push it through the other hole of arm 2. Okay, so now it's poking through both holes. That's what I want, but it'll just slide out if I leave it like that. So I'm actually going to bend the wire down and twist. Okay, so I want the arms to be able to move pretty freely like this, but I don't want it to be kind of loose. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing with the other arms. So 2, 2, and 2. Alright, so this is what your arms should look like at this point. You've got 4 of them bound together, and they can all move freely all the way around. That means you've done it right. You're going to take your straw and measure out how long you want it to be. Okay, the straw will be used as a support so that your hydraulic lift doesn't slide forward and backwards. Okay, so I'm going to want my straw about that big. I'm just going to make a clean cut through it. Don't slant it because that won't make it even. You want to go as straight as possible. Okay, so there's my straw, and I'll need 2 of those. And I want them the same size, otherwise your lift will be uneven as well. So I'm just going to lift it up, even out, settle the scissors on top of the straw, and cut. So now I've got 2 the same size. At this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 2 of my arms, and the top of the 2 arms I'm going to push through a skewer all the way. So there's 1 and 2. It goes through the middle hole. Okay, and do the same thing with the bottom. So the skewer goes through the middle hole, and then I can put my straws on my skewers. Okay, and the point of those skewers should go through the next set of arms. So you're going to line them up as well as you can, and then push the skewer through the next set of arms. 1 and 2. Same thing with this one. You might have to move the skewer back to better reach it. Okay, make them as even as possible. Okay, at this point it should look like this. Okay, and then actually move the arms in opposite directions so that they form X's. So grab and pull. Might be harder with the second one. Alright, it should be able to stand on its own like that, and you can move it down and up simply by grabbing the skewers. It should look something like this at this point. Okay, so you're going to take another set of skewers, push it through the top of both the X's. It's going to go all the way through. This helps stabilize it. take your tacky, wind it around so that they don't slide. Because part of your problem is that it wants to slide out. So to do that, I'm just taking the tacky and sticking it to both the skewer and the arm and pinching it. So I want to flatten it and pinch it. Flatten it, pinch it. Okay? Because you don't want it to move. So do that with your tacky to all the skewers. Your hydraulic lift should look like this now. As you can see, I've got all the tacky on it, so it looks pretty stable, both sides. And now what you can do is you can actually trim the skewers. Okay, so just take some scissors, hold it steady, and cut. So this should cut right off. Okay. And the only thing you need to do is connect the syringe as well as put your hydraulic lift onto a base. Without the base, the lift will slide and it won't be able to go up or down. Okay? So you can use foam board to measure out a base. Here's my base. The base just has to be big enough that your hydraulic lift can go up all the way, but also come out all the way, and the syringe can be attached to it. Okay, this may differ depending on how big your hydraulic lift is, but that's the basic. You also want to have a back part that you can use to measure out with a ruler, a back part that you can use to measure out with a ruler. And for this back part, you're just going to take either a penknife or even a pair of scissors. Open the scissors up so you have the point and drag it along the edge of the ruler. Okay. As you can see, I made a line. This will make it easier to cut later on. Once you have your piece cut off from it, you're going to reattach it right at the top. This will serve as a base for when your lift tries to push back. It'll hit this wall and it won't be able to go backwards, which is what you want. You can attach this either with some glue, cut through with scissors, if you have the patience to wait on it, or you can use your tacky again. It's up to you. I have the patience, so I'm going to use some glue. While that's drying, let's show you the syringe. As you can see here, I have a syringe filled with water in a tube. I've already went ahead and attached a different one to the end of the tube. I'm just going to wiggle the end of the syringe tube. No, just wiggle the end of the syringe into the tube, like so. And by pushing down on the syringe filled with water, it'll raise this one up. So, push down. The pressure forces the syringe to move. You can do the same thing opposite, or you can pull it back. Like, let's say I want this water back. Just pull up, and the pressure will cause the syringe to move down, the blue one. Just like that. Okay, and this is what you're going to use to power your hydraulic lift. It should look like this. It's a really simple process to make it. Attach your hydraulic lift to the wall once it's dry. So you can add some tacky glue or some fun tack to the bottom two of the hydraulic lift. You don't want it to attach to the one on the front. You want it to this one at the back, okay? Because the one at the front still has to be able to move back and forth. So I'm going to use some fun tack. make sure this is secure as possible, but you can still move it. Alright, at this point you're ready to add your syringe. Okay, your syringe is going to be attached to the bottom skewer, but you also want it attached to the base. The reason for this is that if it's not attached to the base, then it's just going to slide forward. The water is going to take the least amount of resistance, and this outer tube is going to slide forward. You don't want that. So you're going to attach the syringe handle to the top of the skewer, and then the syringe to the base. Fun tack is good for that. I can recommend doing the handle for the syringe first. Easiest way to do this is either to put the fun tack on it like so, like that, and then firmly press it down. Okay, that's not going to be enough. Once you have it secured to the hydraulic lift, you can secure it to the board. At least that's a little bit easier. Put it under, press down. Make sure it's stable, and then test it out. And pull it back. So I tested mine out. The back of mine is still a little unstable, so I'm going to use some tacky to stabilize it. Up